Hey everyone, it's Sekaar, and I wanted to go over today how I'd fix Necromancer and what the problems that it faces in PvP are, because at the end of the day, I want all 7 classes that are out right now to be effective in PvP, and right now, only 6 of them are. Necromancer is beyond horrible in my opinion, so today I wanted to go over exactly how I would fix that. Alright, so to start this video, I just wanted to explain real quick, these are just my opinions at the end of the day, so if you guys agree, disagree, that's completely fine. Let me know in the comments below. We do not need to get hostile over here in the comments. We can be very civil with our interactions, so if you do disagree, you are allowed to tell me very nicely if you do, and I have absolutely zero problem with that. So let's get on with the first thing that I would change. The first thing that I would change would be the buff timers on Necromancer. I feel like every single buff that Necromancer has is on an incredibly short duration. I believe the major resolve buff for the Summoner's Armor ability is only 20 seconds long, and most other major resolve abilities that all the other classes have, I believe, are 25 and 30 seconds. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's it. I think the only one that's might be different is Hurricane, but I mean, at the very least, Hurricane does an insane amount of damage when you're brawling out with other people. So at least that's doing other damage. Summoner's Armor kind of just sits there and just has you do nothing right there. It's like, yeah, cool, that's reduced costs on your other abilities, which, I mean, cool at the end of the day, but it's not going to be something that's going to make or break your entire build. So overall, I think that you'd want to increase the time on there, because that timing on there is absolutely horrendous. Like, I feel like I'm doing Buff Simulator all the time when I'm playing Necromancer. Between that, also Mender, I love using Mender, but I feel like it's on such a short duration that I just, between Major Resolve and Mender, I feel like I'm throwing those up every time I'm like weaving my abilities throughout a fight. Like, I put out 2 damage abilities and then it's like, oh, well, time to put out my buffs up again because I don't want to just get bursted. So it's just tough. I feel like the buff timers on Necromancer in general are very, very short compared to all the other ones. I think Warden has like a 30-second Major Resolve buff, if I remember correctly. So, I mean, it's just... And then the major resolve one on Warden also gives you minor protection as well. So it's like, you become really tanky on Warden. On Necro, it's just like, well, I guess you're just going to have less cost on your next abilities. I mean, I don't even use Beckoning Armor whenever I play Necromancer either. So that's one huge thing that I would change. I really feel like the buff timers need to be increased. It doesn't even need to be a significant amount. I'm not going to say like, hey, make them 40 seconds long, because no, that's ridiculous. Just put them on par with all the other ones, because at the end of the day, I feel like if we're going to do hybridization and make everything the same, at least make the buff timers the same at the very least, so that, you know, you can go offensive a little bit more. So that's just one of the many things that I would change with that. And I just really feel like that's a simple change that could be affected very, very, very quickly and very smoothly by Zos. I feel like that's a really easy one to do. And I feel like at least most of you guys might agree with that. If you do agree with that, let me know. If you disagree, let me know, and why as well. So the next thing I would change is Necromancer is the only class in the game that does not have a built-in source of major brutality or sorcery. Every single other class does. Nightblade does with power extraction, Sorcerer does with crit surge, Warden does with Betty Netch. You guys get the deal. Every other class has a built-in source, built-in kit source of major brutality and sorcery. So the reason why that's so important is because that frees up a slot on most people's builds. Most people, including myself, I run Degeneration from the Mages Guild skill line, and then from there, I can't run Camo Hunter because I still want to use damage abilities, and Camo Hunter helps me have a source of major prophecy and savagery. So I know what you guys are going to say. Why don't you just use brutality and sorcery potions? I really like tripods. I think tripods are the best potions in the game. It helps your recovery significantly, so you don't have to really build too much into recovery. So I don't really want to use them too often, because overall I like using tripods. So I just feel like Necromancer could really use a built-in source of major brutality or sorcery. Even put it on something like, even the armor. That'd be cool. No other class has like built-in armor and major brutality and sorcery. That'd be interesting. I don't see why you can't put those together, or at least put it on Mender. I think putting that on Mender would be a very good way to go. So why not try that? I mean, I feel like there's just a bunch of different ways that you can go about that, and that's another very simple thing to do just to make the whole quality of life feel a lot better on Necromancer, because it's just kind of tough because you're just limited to such bar space. For me, my back bar is chock full, 100%. It is tough to get more on my back bar. I've got my armor skill line. I usually have Resolving Vigor because that's a heal. I usually have Race Against Time. I have Mender. And then I have my Burst Heal Resistant Flesh, which I don't even like Resistant Flesh. But I mean, look, we got Scribing, so that's a good way to help our healing as well. So basically, the second thing I would change is the in-kit source of Major Brutality and Sorcery. I feel like that needs to happen, and I feel like that's a really good but subtle way to really boost the class, because then you can fit another skill on your bar. That's very helpful. Speaking of another skill on your bar, I believe that Necromancer needs a spammable that is on par with all the other classes. Nightblade has Concealed Weapon, Templar has Jabs, DK has Whip. I mean, you kind of weave in other abilities in DK. And just in general, other classes have really good spammables, but Necromancer doesn't. I swear to God, if you guys start saying Scythe is good, I'm gonna lose it. It's not a good ability. It's not good for small scale. It's not good for fighting people in a one-on-one situation. It's just not a good skill. It has the potential to be. I would love nothing, guys. I love anything spooky. I love horror. Dude, horror movies in general is like one of my biggest passions in life, and it's something I'm obsessed with. So trust me when I say I would love to play Necromancer, and I would love to use a Scythe as a spammable. Dude, I would be all over that. But it is not a good skill. It does not work that well. It is just, it does not hit hard. I wish it hit a lot harder, but it does not. So I wish that Necro in general would just have a little bit of a better spammable. I just think that it's a very easy way to also buff the kit a little bit. I don't like Flame Skull at all, because that's just, I don't know, that feels too clunky to me, and it's just, it could be good, but I just, again, the tooltip on that, it just doesn't really feel solid, and the overall buffs that it gives is really not that much. You look at something like Nightblade, where Concealed Weapon is going to give you 10 different buffs, but you use Flame Skull once and you just hit somebody and you're like, okay, cool. So on with our day. I mean, you don't really need that at the end of the day, because right now I know the Arterial Burst meta is coming in so hot right now. So I know Warden's using Arterial Burst a lot, so I feel like Necromancer could really gain from that as well. So the spammable on Necro is not something that I would change initially if we were going to be adding some stuff to Necro to make it viable, but I think it would be very nice. I think that the first two things that I said first would really help it, and it would really take the class to another level. Because right now, if I was going to rank all the classes, I would put Necromancer at a solid D tier, maybe even F tier. So if you gave it both those buffs, I would put it into the C tier, maybe B- category. You never know. You really never know. But overall, I feel like it could do a lot. Also, I really am upset with a lot of the changes that have been made to Necromancer. I feel like it's been very unfairly changed, because I just feel like ZeniMax doesn't really know what to do with the class, and that's completely fine. Like, it's a really tough and weird class to do. At first, it was a very harmony-based class with self-synergies, and it hit really hard. For all you guys that were around during the meta where it was a harmony, self-synergized meta with the Boneyard, that would hit so hard. Like, I'm talking about 20k Grave Robbers in like 2 seconds. That it would be, not even 2 seconds, literally 0.2 seconds. Like, it was so dope. But I understand why it was changed, because it was very oppressive to new players, and it was very tough to block it or be able to counterplay it. And I understand that. Guys, at the end of the day, I do believe in balance. It was a very strong ability. That being said, the ability is not good anymore. It's not balanced. ZeniMax took it, and they both gutted Harmony and changed it into a very useless jewelry trait. And then in the exact same patch, They changed it because that was going to be a huge source of Boneyard damage. They also nerfed the damage of Boneyard. So they double nerfed it to the ground. If they nerfed one, maybe it would still be viable. Maybe. But doing both in the same patch, it's just, it's not smart to change two variables at once when you're experimenting on something. It was too much. And it just takes away from the overall skill now, and now it's just another ability that's just not used anymore in today's day and age, which is unfortunate because I want to try new things and I want to try different things. And unfortunately, you just can't really try that anymore because it's just not good. The other thing that I'm not happy about is I just believe that the Blast Bones change with the magic version of Blast Bones, I don't think it was that great of a change, to be honest. I like the idea of it, and the idea of it is really nice to be able to buff the damage of your other abilities, but Necromancer is so short for skills already that how are you going to fit any slots on any other bars? That was your source of burst damage. So to sacrifice your burst damage for 20% damage on your other abilities, I don't think that's worth it in the slightest. And it's also to dot damage, but Necro doesn't really have any built-in dots for PvP. Yes, you have the damage tether. Cool. You have Boneyard that leaves a dot. Cool. But those are dot abilities where it requires things to stand still. That is not a PvP ability. That is a PvE ability for mobs that are standing still. So, I understand that, but at the end of the day, you also need to think about the PvP community, and it just does not work in the PvP sense in the slightest. I don't think that it's that great, so now every single Necromancer in PvP is relegated to using the stamina version of Blasphemous, which, at the end of the day, it's not bad. It still applies Major Defile, which is a huge buff, but you're just not going to have... The other morph hit a lot harder, so it's just unfortunate that we lost all of that on Necromancer. And it just feels like it's a lost class right now. It feels like it's just so in between on all of its different abilities. And it's just really, really, really unfortunate because I want to be able to play it and I want to be able to try new things. But Necromancer just doesn't feel good in any way. The passives on it feel very, 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 very outdated. Agony Totem, I feel like that's not really that great of a CC for PvP either. Like, yeah, people are going to walk into it and it's going to get CC'd, but any player with a brain is just going to walk around it. And it's not that great of an ability. And compared to other CCs that other classes have, Streak, Fossilize, Toppling Charge, even Javelin, there are just so many better CCs in the game. So it's just another CC that, again, on a class that's struggling, it's just not good. And again, like I said, I would love to play this class. Like, Necromancer is so cool, but it just doesn't work that well. Like, its abilities don't hit that hard, and I know it's a utility-based class, but it's not even the best at being a utility-based. Warden is better, Arcanist is better, even Nightblade does a better job at healing. Yeah, it does a better job at tanking. Like, everything does better than Necromancer. And whenever anybody says, hey, like, I don't do bad on my Necromancer, yeah, that's fine, but you probably would be doing better on another class. And that's just a fact. Like, am I wrong about that? Anyway, those are just a few of the changes that I would make because, you know, I do want to see Necromancer succeed. I really do. Because it's a really cool class, but right now it just feels like it's lost and forgotten about, and it's just put on the sidelines because nobody cares about it, and it's really unfortunate. So let me know in the comments if you guys agree with me, disagree. If I missed anything on this, please let me know, because I really would love to talk about this. I really like Necromancer as a class, and I would love to, you know, maybe bring awareness to it and see, hey, if these changes can be made, can we start like a movement to to inform Zoss about this? I don't know. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do not forget to subscribe. I can't even use words right now. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit that like button, all that stuff. You know, I still have to do my whole YouTube spiel. You guys know it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Later.